If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then the pictures of the Daly family in the 1950s tell the story of a typical American family. The handsome husband, the perfect wife, and the happy kids. But then the pictures change, and a family secret was born.
And I would often look at a photo and I'd say, tell me again, who's this? Well, that was Molly. Where's Molly now? She's not here anymore.
When older brother Jeff was 5, Molly disappeared. For a while, Jeff asked constantly, "Where's Molly?" He stopped asking after being told repeatedly by his mother he had to forget his baby sister.
I was fairly well brainwashed. I think I can say that Molly never crossed my mind for 20 years, maybe 30 years.
That is, until someone else from his past came back into his life.
I had not seen him in probably 25 or 30 years.
Cindy Thompson grew up with Jeff in Astoria, Oregon. The two even dated in middle school. They met again in 1994 after their high school reunion.
And one of the first things she said to me was, "How's your mom? How's your dad? And what's Molly doing?" And I almost fell off the chair. I said, how do you remember Molly? And
I said, everybody knew about Molly. He said, what do you know about Molly? I said, well, she was sent away. I don't know where she went, and I never heard what happened to her. Is she still alive? And Jeff said, I don't know.
It almost ended our relationship right there. Cindy was so upset, saying, how could you not know where your sister is?
Nevertheless, Jeff and Cindy's relationship grew. They got married. But it would take another 10 years before the mystery of Molly's disappearance began to unravel. And it was only after Jeff's parents, Sue and Jack, passed away.
My father died. Cindy said, time's up. I'm going to find Molly.
Turns out Jack Daly kept information in his wallet about his only daughter and a secret file hidden away. And within 24 hours of Jack's death, the mystery of Where's Molly was solved.
And Cindy picked up the phone, started making some phone calls, and it was the third call. She found the group home in Hillsboro, just outside of Portland, where Molly was actually living.
3 days later, Jeff Daly reunited with the sister he last saw when she was just shy of her 3rd birthday. Molly was now a 49-year-old woman.
So I wasn't sure what to expect. But the first time I saw her, it was pain. I felt pained that I hadn't seen her. I knew that I was wrong.
Knew that you were wrong, not trying to find her sooner.
That here indeed is this individual that has personality, and she's my sister. And I let her go for 47 years without ever being part of her life.
Because Molly couldn't tell Jeff and Cindy about those missing 47 years, they set about filling in the details, which brought them to the institution where Molly was sent back in 1957. The Oregon Fairview home. Fairview has now been closed for almost a decade. The buildings where Molly and thousands of other children lived are in decay. But a film that shows what life was like here in the 1950s gave Cindy and Jeff a disturbing look at how Molly spent her childhood here.
Kosher Cottage, first stop in the journey of a mentally retarded child.
And the last thing Jeff and Cindy expected was to see Molly herself in the film when she was just 5 years old.
And she was at the beginning of the film. And when we saw that, we crumbled.
At the time, the film was meant to be a testament to the state-of-the-art care given to patients with intellectual disabilities. Fairview, founded in 1907, was originally named the Oregon State Institution for the Feeble-Minded. And it was hardly alone. By 1962, 49 of the 50 states in the U.S. had at least one institution for the mentally disabled. In all, there were 123.
After World War II, in the early 50s, you increasingly had physicians who would tell parents to put their children almost immediately in institutions after they were born if they had an apparent disability.
James Trent is a professor at Gordon College in Massachusetts, and the author of A History of America's Treatment of Those once called mentally retarded. He says Molly's parents undoubtedly acted on what was common advice in the 1950s.
Most physicians would tell them for the good of the family, for the good of the other children in the family, for the good of the stability of the family, it was best to put the disabled child in a state institution.
That was the way it was done. The state asked you to do that. The doctors told my parents, it's okay, let Molly go to Salem. She'll be in an institution, she'll be better off there.
But Jeff believes Molly was not better off.
Molly had some minor disabilities, but we believe that when she went into the institutional, she became institutionally retarded. The environment created her, forced her into being what everybody else in an institution was, which were people surviving.
In combing through Molly's records, the Dailies discovered that despite the family mandate to forget her, Molly did have some family visitors through the years.
My mom went there once, from what we understood. She went there one time a few years after Molly was sent there. We don't know why. We just found a little note in her records that mother had visited. But other than that, she didn't visit.
Was it shame that kept your mother from doing this? Was it just that she didn't want to acknowledge even Molly's existence?
I never could understand as how a parent that you could just throw up this firewall between you and a daughter. But to send her away and say, no more conversation. She is not part of our lives. We're not going to talk to her about it. So whether that's shame, it's a horrible dilemma I think that my mother had to go through.
At first, Molly's father visited often, until Fairview staff advised him to stop because Molly would become inconsolable after he left. But Jack Daly found an ingenious way to continue visiting his daughter, one that might bring a smile to her face.
He did go back, only a way that I suppose my dad could have figured out. He went back as a clown.
Jeff's father, an executive at the Bumblebee Seafood Company, founded a troupe called the Astoria Clowns in 1957, the very year Molly was sent away. The troupe traveled around Oregon, marching in parades and entertaining children wherever they went. And they visited Fairview.
And he was able to have this relationship with Molly in disguise, painted face, an orange wig, wearing the clown outfit, but he was able to still get back there and see his daughter.
By profession, Jeff was a freelance cameraman who sometimes worked for CBS News. Now he's made a film called Where's Molly? About the search for his sister.
We went to Salem, where we were able to go through dozens of boxes of Oregon state records.
He hopes his story encourages others to reunite with siblings lost because of the wisdom of earlier times. He's failed, however, to convince his own younger brother, who was born after Molly was sent away, to spend time with her.
I've not only lost my brother now, but he's missing out on a great opportunity to have a sister.
For Jeff, finding his sister has done much more than solve an old mystery.
Jeff has changed immensely since he found Molly. He has, as one person said, it filled a hole in his soul, and it really did.
I have family. I've lost some family, but I've got family. And I think that the family that I have now needs me, and I'm glad to be there for. That's the beauty of it. It's a lovely reward to be able to give back and to take care of your little sister.